Hello everyone, and welcome to Raz-Lee Security's Visualizer Business Intelligence Demo. First, let's look at the need for Visualizer. System administrators often have to do three things. Number one, they'd like to be able to identify and isolate a single security breach from among millions of potential security-related events in the log. In other words, they need to be able to find the needle in the haystack, which of course is difficult to do using batch-oriented facilities. Number two, they'd like to be able to easily generate a security rule based upon the real event, which in the future will capture all similar potential security breaches. And number three, they'd like to be able to analyze security-related log information, preferably via a colorful, easy-to-understand interface. To better illustrate the challenge, let's look at the following scenario. Our system administrator, looking at her screen, says, well, there are millions of log entries, and I need to find a specific entry which is a potential security breach. And even if I found it, in order to create a security rule, I'd have to write a program, a very specific program, in order to implement that rule. Well, with Visualizer, our security administrator can easily isolate a single event out of the millions of log entries and create a security rule based on the event. Or get an analysis of security data in a graphical, user-friendly format. So with Visualizer, our security administrator can easily understand and implement security. To sum up then, Visualizer Business Intelligence provides a graphical presentation and analysis of both iSecurity Audit and Firewall log data based upon the iSecurity graphical user interface. And it enables users to slice and dice, to drill down and isolate specific events based upon many, many different parameters such as dates, IP addresses, users, job names, programs. In Audit, we're talking about entry types and subtypes. In Firewall, for example, we can look at the fact or analyze the fact that a particular network request was accepted or rejected, etc. Visualizer provides instantaneous response to queries regardless of the file size of the log, and it's based upon a special purpose data warehouse, which is security oriented. This data warehouse is built periodically, usually nightly, via a maintenance job which takes the Firewall and Audit daily log files and prepares a file which is used by Visualizer, the graphical user interface of Visualizer, as input, using the statistics file produced from the maintenance job, both for Firewall and for Audit. So the objectives then of this demo are to demonstrate using Visualizer Business Intelligence, to demonstrate how we analyze Audit and Firewall log data. And what we'll be doing is explaining a bit about the user interface, some of the concepts. We'll define a typical scenario of interest, and we'll isolate a set of log events, show how they are extracted from the actual log records, and then we'll show you how to define and build a rule which will automatically be invoked when the event recurs. If we now open the graphical user interface of iSecurity, we see here on the left the navigation tree of iSecurity broken down into different components: products, audit, authority on demand, capture, firewall, etc., as well as other items of interest, for example, business intelligence, which we'll look at now, queries and reporting, user management, etc. So let's click on Audit. Let's access information from the last 15 days. The screen opens very, very quickly, and we have this information. Before I go further, let me just show you that we can do the same for Firewall. With Firewall, we see this screen, and just if we look at the screen just a bit, we see that all information on the dates can be sorted, can be widened if we need more information. We can view the data in various formats, pie chart, etc. And here on the bottom of the screen for Firewall, we have Firewall relevant information. for example, the system from which the log data was connected, the users, again, sorting, selecting the servers. Perhaps we want to see a little more information about the particular servers, functions, the IP addresses, libraries, etc. Here on top, we're looking at different filters. And as we can see here, we have, in this case, 27 entries because we filtered the data by date and also by these 4 users. That's the reason we're looking currently at 27 entries. Let's go back to Audit. Let's select, for example, all dates in February. And here on the bottom again, we see that different information regarding the system, the jobs, the users. We're currently looking at a number of entries, the programs, etc. Let's look at the different entry types which appear in the Audit journal log file, and let's focus on obtaining adopted authority. If we then go to the subtype, I think that we'd be interested in viewing the second option here, looking at the programs that began that adopted owner authority. At this point, we only have a few entries left. These are the entries that we're looking at. We're looking at a total of 111 entries. And if we now view them on the level of system, job, user, program, let's decide that we're interested in looking at programs Q command which obtained adopted authority. So now we have 3 entries, and we've actually drilled down into the data, which originally consisted of millions of entries, of log entries, and currently we're looking at only 3 particular entries. At this point, we'd like to build a rule, which in the future, when the program Q command is issued for entry type AP, subtype S, will automatically issue an email, an SMS message, a syslog message, will perhaps write something to the message queue, etc. Let's now, therefore, look at the log data. We're now retrieving the 3 log data entries that we've isolated from among the millions of entries in the Audit journal. So we're accessing the actual log data. We have 3 entries here, one from the 4th, from the 6th, and from the 8th of February. Let's create a detection rule based upon the last. Okay, so we've clicked on Create Detection Rule. We're now here at this point, at this screen called Real-Time Auditing. We have all the entry types here on the left, and we're now defining a rule for this particular event. Let's open the event. And what we're interested in at this point is looking at the filter. The filter has been pre-populated with the actual values in the Audit journal log entry for this particular entry type for AP, obtaining adopted authority. And now I have to define a general filter, a general rule, which will always be initiated in the future. Well, we said that we'd like to see the name of the program being equal to Q command, so let's just delete these filter conditions. Perhaps the name of the job, instead of QTOBDNS, let's say that it begins with QTOB. So we've widened the definition a bit. And perhaps we would like to define that the user of the job would be one of those in a list of QTCP, QABC, and QXYZ. The other entries should be deleted, number of job as well, and we are now left with a filter which will run in the future looking at the Audit journal entries and performing particular actions, as you can see here, when the entry is detected. In a future demo of iSecurity, I'll explain to you more about how to define actions, how to define setting email events, SMS, syslog, message queue, etc. To sum up then, we have demonstrated the Visualizer Business Intelligence component. We've showed and we've explained the user interface and the concepts. We've defined the scenario. I showed you how to isolate a set of log events and extract them from the Q-Audit Journal log file. And I've shown you how to define and build a rule which will automatically be invoked when the event recurs. Thank you, and feel free to visit us at www.razlee.com.